Hi everybody, welcome back to this, well I was going to say this week's, but it's looking more like this month's video. Today we're going to be doing what I read in March and April because I didn't end up filming this video last month in March, so I figured I would just join it together with April. So that's what we're going to do today. So in April and March, I read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I read 14 books between the 2 months, which honestly wasn't super great, but it's been a super busy last 2 months for me, and I definitely did go through kind of a slump in March where I just was not in the mood to really read. It's not because any of the books were bad per se, I just wasn't in the mood overall. But with that being said, we're just going to go ahead and jump in to the books that I read. We're going to start in March because I read those first. The first book that I read in March was Praise by Sarah Kate. So this book was really crazy. I don't really know why I was expecting it not to be, but I still was super shocked. Throughout reading the entire book, I was so caught off guard. But basically, Praise is about this girl who ends up moving into her ex-boyfriend's dad's house. She doesn't live there, but she moves in there, and that's where he works, and she's his assistant. But he is the owner of a sex club. And so basically she just over time really comes to want him, and you can probably guess where that ends up for them. But that book was super crazy. I would probably give this book now a 3 star. Just the point of this book is literally sex. So if you want that kind of book, definitely read. But if not, there wasn't really much else to the story in my opinion. The next book that I read in March was, there's a man walking by and he's looking at my camera and me. Okay, let's try that again. So this next book that I read was Famous Lost Words by C.W. Farnsworth, and I had read one other book from her before and I really liked it, so I was okay, we'll give this one a shot. This one was super good. So basically, it is a enemies to lovers hockey romance with her adoptive family's rival, and not even rival. You find out pretty early on why they don't get along. It's because this dude is actually the illegitimate son of her adoptive dad, and it's really just her parents' best friend because her parents have passed away. But then obviously they fall for each other, as all good enemies to lovers do. But the story was just super cute, them learning that they had judged each other and they really didn't know anything about each other. And there's more people walking by. I don't know why I thought coming to the beach to film on a nice warm day was a good idea, but we're just gonna have to keep going through it. So that was Famous Last Words. The next book was called Pretty Ugly Promises. And just based on the title, I don't really remember anything about this book, to be honest with you. Oh my god, I totally remember this now. So I just looked it up because I was I really don't remember anything about this. So this is also a C.W. Farnsworth book, but this one is a dark romance mafia book. This was my first mafia book, and I was this shit's crazy. But basically, this girl meets this guy in college, and they date for a little while, and then he abruptly leaves, and then once he's gone, she finds out that she's pregnant, and he ended up leaving because he had to take over the family mafia business. And then surprise, surprise, he finds out he has a son, people find out he has a son, and yeah, that's kind of how that goes. I don't want to spoil too much of the rest of it, but now that I remember what this book is, you should definitely read it, but it's not like the most memorable book. The next book that I read was A Fate Inked in Blood. This was actually my book of the month book, and it was so good. I did not know that I really enjoyed Viking romances, but I really enjoy Viking romances. Basically, these people have like these powers, and everyone wants to capture this girl once they know who like she really is and what her powers are, because it can make them like the all-powerful king of the land. And then there was some wild betrayals throughout the whole book, and I was just utterly shocked. But it was a really good read, and it was actually I want to say it was my first book of the month book too, so that was just super exciting. And then I started my spree of mystery thriller books. You'll see once we get into the April books that I continued this and I actually read a handful of it. But the first one that I read was Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. Basically, in this book, this woman's daughter is kidnapped and they don't know where she is, whatever. And you also follow the story of her math tutor and then the mom's like boyfriend, and you just find out like the crazy ways in which they are all connected. It was such a trip. It literally had me so shocked until like the final part, and then I was like, oh my god, I know what's gonna happen. Like, this is insane. But that was my first mystery thriller that we read, and it was super, super good. Next, I got into my Frida McFadden kick, and let me tell you, this is the first time I had ever read a Frida McFadden book, and it was so, so good. I was literally so hooked. I was addicted, could not put this book down, but I started with The Inmate. Basically, this story is about this girl and her high school friend group, and basically, they're at her boyfriend's cabin, or well, it's his house, but it's like in the middle of the woods. And basically, someone tries to kill them all, and she testifies that it was her boyfriend that tried to do it, so he goes to jail. But little did she know she was pregnant, and then she ends up having their kid, and then has to move back to the town where this all happened, and it just gets so crazy from there. Honestly, this was like, I think, my favorite of the Frida McFadden books that I read. Um, but I think that also could have just been because it was the first one that I read. It felt like super special, and I was just like, oh my god, like it really just changed a lot. Alright, now we are going to get into the books that I read in the month of April. So in April, I read 8 books in the month of April. And if anyone is keeping track based on the past videos, I am detrimentally behind in my reading goal, but it's okay because graduation is around the corner, so I'm about to have a lot more free time. But the first book that we read was also a Frida McFadden book. Like I said, we go on a little kick of reading her books in this video. But after reading The Inmate, I just had to read The Housemaid because it's her most popular book, and I just had to know what it was all about. And I could really see why it was her most popular book. But that being said, I still think I liked The Inmate more. It was this one, I felt so uncomfortable the whole time. It was just like not uncomfortable, like I couldn't stop, like I wanted to stop reading it. Uncomfortable and like I wanted to crawl out of my skin while reading some of it. So I definitely would say I liked The Inmate more, but it was still a super good book. And then the next book that I read by Frida McFadden was The Teacher, and The Teacher shocked me. It was giving Pretty Little Liars. Like, I was so confused on what was happening, like, the entire time. I was like, how is nobody catching on to this? Nobody knows what's going on. And then the plot twist that you find out in, like, the epilogue, I was so shocked. Like, I forced my mom to read this book after me, and now she's on a little Frida McFadden kick. But it was crazy. So I think my two favorites from my mystery and thriller were definitely The Inmate and The Teacher. They were super, super good. Alright, and then after reading my thriller times, I decided that it was time to pick back up, I should say, the tandem read for Throne of Glass, so Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn. I had started these in like late February, early March, and I got about halfway through both of them, and I was like, I just need a break. Like, this is too much. It's a big undertaking trying to tandem read the two books. But I finally picked them back up, and I finished them, and I was so excited to read the last book. I was just like, I need to do this, and it was super good. I definitely liked Empire of Storms more than I liked Tower of Dawn, and my friend actually read them on her Kindle, so she didn't do the tandem read, and so I could only imagine her emotions when she went from Empire of Storms to then going to Tower of Dawn. Like, I think that would actually make me hate the books, just because Tower of Dawn is a lot more boring than Empire of Storms. But you do get Cole and his love interest's story. I don't want to say who in case anyone hasn't read it. I don't want to like spoil it for you. So that was like the only part. Once you got like the little tidbits of them that I like loved. But yeah, I was just super excited to get to Kingdom of Ash after I finished both of those books. And I know I said I was super excited, but then my book of the month book actually came, and my April book of the month book was actually Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. And in January, I read pretty much, I think, all but one of Abby Jimenez's like backlog of books. She is just such an amazing author. Like, I probably would read this one's grocery list, like if she'd let me. I love the storylines. Like, I just love everything about her books. And this book was no different. I absolutely love Just for the Summer. So the plot of Just for the Summer is that these two people both have like this curse where anytime they date someone and then they break up with them, that person goes on to like find the one. And so they're like, oh, well, if we date each other and then we break up, maybe we'll find the one. So that's what they do. So it's a fake dating trope, which I love. Um, but I was so hooked and so invested in like rooting for these people, even when they weren't like rooting to be with each other. And I was like, you just don't see it yet, but it's coming, I promise. So I absolutely loved Just for the Summer, and it truly is like that perfect summer read. So if you're looking for a good summer reads, I would definitely add that to your summer TBR. And then I was in like the cutesy romance phase because I had read Just for the Summer. So I actually read From Lemnos with Love. And this is just a Kindle Unlimited romance book that I found on TikTok. But it's basically a fake dating trope again. Like I said, I love fake dating. Between this girl and this guy, and it actually takes place in Greece. So another super great summer romance. It's definitely like that vacation vibe if that's what you're looking for. And it's a book that I wish that I had to read with me when I was in Greece, because that would have just been so perfect. After that, I was out of the romance phase, and it was finally time to pick up Kingdom of Ash. And when I tell you, this book absolutely destroyed me, I was unwell. I literally sent pictures to my coworker at like 2 in the morning of just me sobbing over events that took place in this book. And I can like confidently say this will literally be one of my favorite books forever. Like, I loved this book so much. I actually did reach out to my tattoo person to get a quote on a tattoo for this book. So that should be coming relatively soon. Super excited for that. But I just need everyone to read Throne of Glass just so they can read Kingdom of Ash. Because this book destroyed me and then rebuilt me altogether. And I need everyone else to experience that with me. And then the final book that I read in April was called The Puck Pact. It is a marriage of convenience, fake dating, hockey romance, and what can I say? It has hockey and fake dating, so of course I loved it. Um, I didn't necessarily love like the reasons why, like it was super sad, but it was also its redeeming factor was that it was a single dad. And if there's one thing about me, is I'm gonna read a single dad. Like I single dad fake dating, hockey. That is the holy trinity right there of romance books, in my personal opinion. I absolutely love them, and I ate this book up, and it was also a Kindle Unlimited book if you wanted to go ahead and read that. Alright, I also figured that since we did what books I read, I would also throw in a few books that are on my TBR for May, and I'm super excited for some of these books. So my book of the month book is actually a Christina Lauren book. It's called like The Problem with Paradise, or The Paradise Problem, something like that. But I just placed the order today, so it should be here fairly quickly. So I'm super excited to read that one. I also do want to read Wild Love by Elsie Silver this month. I think that would be super fun. And I'm so convinced that I'm going to read Swift and Saddled this month because I read Done and Dusted. But the only problem with that is that Done and Dusted was a Kindle Unlimited book and Swift and Saddled is not, so I have to buy Swift and Saddled. But if I buy Swift and Saddled, I have to buy Done and Dusted. So I've just been waiting to see like what gift cards I get because May is actually birthday month. So this month I'll be turning 22, and then a week later I actually graduate from college. So I'm trying to not buy myself anything until after those two events, just because people always give like Barnes and Noble gift cards as gifts for me because they know that it's something that I will absolutely love. And then another book that I really, really want to read this month is Funny Story, the new Emily Henry book. And so those are the 4 books so far that I have on my May TBR. Hopefully I read all 4. If not, I can definitely see myself maybe saving some of them until like actual summer, like when school's out, so maybe in June. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hopefully will see you guys sooner than this time and post a little more frequently, especially once school gets out and there's so many exciting events coming up that I can't wait to like film for. But with that being said, please like and subscribe down below, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!